what about that kid from West Virginia that said
The best high jumper in Kentucky.
Yeah, and look,
It is amazing.
marks the front.
what, 7?
7'2".
Yeah, 7'2" and a quarter or something.
Yeah, and he's only like 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't think I can even jump 7 inches if I ran.
So no idea where he's going to college, but probably wherever he wants.
okay. Okay, Mike, on the upper left-hand side. Because I want to go see. On the upper left-hand side, there's an arrow pointing down.
Yes.
And so you can turn that, and it's going to turn the whole document because they loaded it at once. And it's going to, when you start to turn it, it's going to jump you back to the beginning pages. So
Josh.
if you turn it so the beginning page, the top of it is on your right.
So it's all under.
Better knowing of it.
7.
Well, so you could look, you could start off and read the one, and then if you're listening, then you can.
Coming up, I don't like that.
You can flip it
But it
over.
moves all of them. You can't segregate them.
Good evening, I'll call this
Because
meeting
they
to order.
loaded them
Would
as
all
one
rise. We'll
document.
start with the invocation by Jack Wilhite. Thank you, Jack.
Let's pray. Father God, we come together tonight to discuss this business of the city of Warsaw, a day after the inauguration of a new president. Lord, we pray your guidance, wisdom, and protection over our new leaders. We thank you for those who have served and now return to the private sector. I want to thank you for the life of Dr. Martin Luther King also, whose birthday we celebrated yesterday. A life dedicated to refocus our attention to the fact that we are all created in your image and should be treated as such. I also want to ask you bless and comfort the family of Counselor Diane Quantz at the passing of her mother. Be with them in this time of need. Now I ask you bless this evening's meeting. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Now the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You be seated. Thank you. Thanks, okay. I want to welcome everybody that is here this evening. I appreciate everybody's patience. Also, our new platform. I know I've been saying that now for about 6 months, but the new platform we use for the agenda. I appreciate, Hampton, no comments here, your patience. Okay. The first item here that we have is the approval of the minutes from the December 16th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say nay. Yep.
Jurgen, did you second that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The ayes have it, 7-0. Lynn, for the record, everybody is present.
Got it.
The next item is an oath of office by Gordon Nash, the Warsaw Wayne Fire Territory. Gordon, thanks for coming this evening. Appreciate your years of service. I'm going to ask our city attorney to swear you in because I'm a voting member. And again, back to thank you for your service and taking the oath this evening.
Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Gordon Nash.
I, Gordon Nash,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Indiana,
of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and diligently
and diligently
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as a member of
as a member of
the Warsaw, Maine
the Warsaw Wayne
Township Fire Protection Territory,
Warsaw Wayne Fire
Township Fire Protection
Very good.
Territory, according to the law
according to the law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my
So good that you're with us. All right. Thanks, Lord.
The next item on the agenda, Judge McGrath. A few words from you. Thank you for coming this evening and sharing with the council.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share with you tonight. I am so excited to share with you a new problem-solving court that is in our community, specifically Reentry Court. Provided you some information already. I don't want to repeat everything, but I want to just sum it up like this. Reentry courts are designed specifically for the high-risk, high-need offenders currently serving a sentence who will be released into our community and who need skills to reintegrate successfully into our community. They need assistance, support in doing so. Historically, traditionally, we just keep locking them up. And when the jails get full, we build new jails. It's not effective. It's not fighting crime. It's expensive, and it's not solving the problem, the underlying issues that are causing these individuals to continue to offend. These individuals need the ability to be assessed for their unique needs, whether those are addiction needs, mental health needs. They need to have an individualized plan provided and prepared for them, full of services, rehabilitative services, counseling, support, maybe things like housing, transportation, things that help them reintegrate successfully so they have other options rather than just return to a criminal lifestyle or a life of further addiction. I would like to briefly introduce a couple of the team members are with me tonight. Tammy Johnston is our probation director. She has been on the team from the beginning. Another probation officer, Kelly Krugman, she's the assistant director, has served temporarily as our interim coordinator and case manager until we are able to hire a full-time person to fill that role. Also, Dan Hampton is here with us tonight, prosecutor who has graciously been on our team from the beginning as well, representing the prosecutor's office. We also have representation from Bowen Center, who we will rely on heavily. That's one of our community partners that we will be collaborating with, along with many others. Barry Andrew, Community Corrections Director. Scott Royst is our public defender who is serving on our team. And as I mentioned, Tammy and Dan. I would happily answer any questions you might have, just based on what you have read thus far, what you've heard from me. Any questions?
Judge, in the letter to my office, and then the council has seen it, the reentry court is asking the city of Warsaw for assistance in funding the program and specifically requests $30,000 from the opioid settlement funding to help the reentry court assist the Warsaw community in treatment, prevention, and harm reduction resulting from the opioid crisis. As appointed judge of Superior Court 1, you obviously will be presiding over this reentry court.
That's correct.
And then also the use of this funding. Scott, help us with the history, the opioid funding and what has happened and where we are. Help the council and the community understand where we are here.
So as you know, the prescription opioid lawsuits have been pending for some time. I think nearly every state in our country has sued pharmaceutical manufacturers for the opioid prescriptions that were written and doled out. And why that's become much more tightened, they've reached settlements specifically for this kind of thing to help prevent the harm that was caused by some of this opioid addiction. My understanding is part of the settlement funds we're expected to receive funding for, I think, the next 17, 18, 19 years.
The countdown's, it's 16 now. 'cause we've
16
had a
now,
couple
yeah.
years.
So I think we've had a couple years. And that settlement number is growing, each year of what we're expected to receive because more lawsuits are getting settled, more defendants are being joined. So I think that the reentry court is a suitable, if not the ideal place for some of this opioid money to go. I'm sure Judge McGrath and Mr. Hampton and Ms. Johnston can tell you categorically it's more than just the people committing crimes. I think Judge McGrath sees it throughout her court, some of the crisis that this created. You know, she does guardianships in her court, and there's children who need to be taken from their parents because of this, and child's in needs of services. There's grandparents raising children. There's cousins and sisters and brothers. You guys see it in the community. You know people where this is happening, and you know, from where I sit as a defense attorney, some of the stuff I see is people just can dig themselves such a deep hole that when they get released from jail, they have nowhere to go except for either back exactly where they were, where the trouble started, or worse. Many people live paycheck to paycheck, and having no paycheck. There's just the opportunity to get a leg up, and I think what the reentry court's hopefully going to be able to do is get those people who were maybe not afraid of, but that need some assistance to get back on their feet, to get the skills, like she said. I think that's what's going to happen, and I think we'll see improvements across the board, and Ms. McGrath won't have to deal with some of the difficulties in all aspects of her court if this reentry court's successful. Mr. Hampton and Ms. Johnston have been part of the drug treatment court, which is another problem-solving court that has been here in Kosciuszko County now for over a decade, and there's been great returns from that court just here locally, and it's effective nationwide. One of the things that in Ms. McGrath's letter that was I thought was important was this isn't groundbreaking. They've been doing problem-solving courts for 30 or 40 years, and they've got empirical data for best practices and best things to do. And Ms. McGrath's been trained in that stuff. Ms. Johnson, Mr. Hampton, they go to seminars and they learn the best practices, and they're planning to implement those. So it's not poke around and see what they discover. It's follow these success stories that have happened across the country and model those. So I'm very bullish on the opportunity for this reentry court. I do have a dog in the fight because I'm part of it, but I think it would be an ideal place for this council and this city to direct some of these opioid recovery funds, because I do think it's one of the best places they could to help solve some of the harms that was created by the opioid crisis. So that's my 2 cents.
Judge, I stressed community. I've tried to, on a variety of fronts, encourage the entire community to blur lines between city, county, town. We're all in this together. And do you have any comment there? I mean, what you see in that court, it's more than just our jurisdiction, but certainly people living within our jurisdiction are coming in and out of your courtroom.
Certainly, not nonstop people from your jurisdiction, absolutely. There's not a fence around the city and the county and each little town, so the crossover is constant and immense, but much like Mr. Royce just talked about, the ripple effect of one individual who is in the grips of addiction and therefore committing crimes and all of these things, it ripples out into the entire community that is within this city and beyond, out into the county as well. But an enormous impact right here in this jurisdiction.
I appreciate you too contacting my office. You're aware of these dollars, and just coming before the council and saying there obviously is a need, and council will have to consider.
Certainly.
But dollars in your direction could benefit countless people.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I believe that. I will tell you, we were the very grateful recipient of a grant from the Indiana Supreme Court Office of Court Services that is assisting with the initial funding. That will help us hire a full-time coordinator, will help us get started with some of the services that we want to put in place, the drug testing, occasionally the GPS monitoring if necessary, some of those things. It's just not enough to do everything that we want to accomplish to make a difference.
Remember council budgeting, Chief Whitaker came to me and said, Jeff, there's dollars here and best use. And again, we both, looking out the window up there, looking next door. And just want you to continue to consider that as we look at the way this entire, the results of all of it. And again, there's money that's building up and we'll continue to see it. Best use, we're going to have to be looking at this on a regular basis. And again, back to you, I'm just thankful that you're here tonight, telling us, what you're trying to do, and then obviously the needs in dollars. Any questions for the judge?
I have a couple. You just answered one of them, so you're going to hire a coordinator for this, and whose office or where will that person work out of?
They will be housed in the probation department.
Okay.
They'll have an office in the probation department. As is true for all probation employees, they ultimately report to the court.
Okay.
But they'll be housed in probation.
And then about how many people do you think initially, like what is your initial goal for the first year or however long of the program?
We will help as many as we can help. It will depend a bit how many services we can implement, and that's where to some extent the funding comes into play. Even with just one case manager or coordinator, I don't see a reason why we can't have 15, 20 participants. I think at any given time, drug court will have approximately 15 or 20.
Probably more than that.
More than that currently?
I was thinking Judge Reed had about 30.
Probably about 30 active, but they had a drug court currently has a full-time case management person that I know the reentry court is in the process of hoping to hire somebody for that position. Along with that is a couple of the probation, Ms. Johnston and Mr. Andrew both supervise a few people as well to keep some hands-on in the drug court. But it's probably right around 30. I think we've talked in the reentry court. An ideal situation is it's about a year-long program. Ideally, this reentry court, maybe bring a new person in every week and graduate a person every week, and ultimately have 50 or so people in there, and that could be maybe how it would work going forward. But we're getting our first one here in the next week, and moving forward from there. But
Well, I can think of some situations where the drug court has not been enough services to wrap around people, and so I can see where you might have some people that you might have tried to refer there that would be a lot more appropriate for this program.
It's quite possible.
Yeah, we
yes.
don't really have those intensive wraparound services like you're describing in here, so I'm excited to
That's our
sitting
goal.
on the child protection team with Tammy and just seeing exactly what you were talking about. Yeah, so.
Good, thank you.
Any other questions?
one thing I would add that is that early on that seems like a real benefit to this reentry court is the reentry court currently has a really good buy-in from the Bowen Center. And Bowen Center representatives are showing up and they're telling us that the initial people that come in, they're going to be able to do an evaluation for substance abuse, psychiatric type mental health evaluations, health and dental type stuff, kind of a hands-on, get them started on the right track as they come out of jail. And the Bowen Center has the facilities in our, as you might recall, they're approved building more facilities here over by the skating rink, and so there's good partners in it, and And as this gets more popular, I think we've had really great support in the jails from like ministries and things like that. I think that's going to be part of the help that will help the reentry court going forward as well. So takes a village, right? And that's where it starts.
It's a village. And Bowen, to that point, in fact, their residential housing that they have currently, they literally have a room available that they're holding for our first participant who otherwise would have nowhere to go for housing. But perhaps, who knows, a couch or back to a, similarly situated family member or girlfriend or whatnot, that just leads back down the same path. So collaborating with them on meeting these housing needs as well is really quite critical for these folks who are just coming out and have nowhere to go that is safe and clean and healthy, clean from substances and so forth.
So Mayor, is the purpose of this just to give us some information tonight to think about?
Yeah, the judge wanted to come in and has already shared with my office and wanted to share with the council, obviously the public, the need or request right now is $30,000. And I don't want to speak for you, but obviously you want us to consider this sooner than later and work through it and then consider looking her direction. Again, these dollars are coming in, it's building up, and they're going to be coming in for the next 16 years. What can we do to give back to not only our jurisdiction, but in this case, our community being influenced by lots of negative factors and obstacles. And so it may be, remember our nonprofit committee, remember our ARPA committee, and several of you have served and participated, we've done that before. This may be something because of the dollar amounts and the need where in the future, this year and moving forward, we may want to have one or two of you become the point person. I mean, I obviously can do it, but it might be better because it's your vote, your decision, to where you work through these requests and work with area stakeholders. The judge is here, and we make the best decision we possibly can.
I see Lynn's looking up my next question. How much money we have? Just maybe say enough or not enough.
Enough.
We have
Okay.
enough, yeah, we do, and more
I
is
knew we
coming.
had some requests from law enforcement.
If you look on your fund report, when it comes
Thank
up,
you.
it's funds 256 and 257,
That's what I thought.
2256 and 2257, so.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Any other comments, Judge?
No, I appreciate your time. Thank you for letting me share.
We thank you for all you do, and
course.
appreciate you guys coming to support the judge.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. You can obviously stay if you want, but you also don't have to, so just so. Dan might want to stay just to bring back good memories of
Yeah.
a
Sure
long
misses us.
time ago. Yeah,
Do you want to sit up here, Dan?
Okay.
yeah. Thank you again. Thank you. All right.
So what's
So
the
Mayor, are
difference
you
in
wanting
the-
us to wait?
Diane?
Are you wanting us to wait?
No, I'm just saying I don't want to push it all, but I want you to be aware of it. It is $30,000. I would not be afraid to entertain discussion or action tonight. Cindy, I'm sorry, you had a question?
Oh, I was just going to ask, I see we have restricted and unrestricted funds there. Which would this be applicable to?
Yeah, what's the difference?
Lynn and
Well,
Scott.
there's, restricted can only obviously be used for certain things, and there's an exhibit E on all the opioid settlement information that shows what you have to use it restricted for. And this would probably fit in the restricted thing, I would think. The unrestricted is sort of open-ended, but there's still some gutters on it, so you're not just going out and buying a new dump truck with the unrestricted funds every year or something like that.
And Lynn, this is public, I mean, you guys are gonna see this in a minute, but opioid settlement unrestricted, please correct me if I'm wrong, is $104,863 $1,000,000.36. And if you look at opioid settlement restricted, they're set at $271,984.17. And so again, what can we do, A, to be aware of it, and more is coming, and B, what are the needs from the community, city, county, towns, other organizations that are standing up and fighting against this huge problem.
So if you look in the second column too, the revenue year-to-date, because this is the December fund report, so this is what we received all year. And in the unrestricted, we received $60,000, and the restricted, it was 149, almost $150,000. So much larger than what we were first predicted to even get. But they don't give us updates on what our estimated amount is gonna be each year, so we just take what we get.
So,
And I think there's like 109,000 or 119,000, I think, budgeted for this year in the restricted, but there's no set thing that what that money's budgeted.
Right, so help me out, Lynn, did I hear you right? 150,000 came in restricted last year,
Yes,
and 60,000, over 60,000 came in unrestricted. And then I read the totals, that's what I mean, it's building up, and the chief coming to me, Jeff, Mayor, what can we do here? And again, okay, go ahead, Lynn.
I'm sorry, I think we did have a little expenditure earlier this year for some of that money. It might have been from the unrestricted though.
so if this council chose to take action tonight, I think the next step I would draft a MOU between the city and the reentry court, and it would be brought forward probably to the next Board of Works for the Board of Works to approve that, but I don't think the Board of Works would approve that without the blessing of the city council.
I guess I don't have a problem going ahead with something this evening.
Do we have any plans for any of the unrestricted funds yet, or?
We'll see, and I've talked to Jeff about this too, is that we really need to start with, in my opinion, forming a committee, which has been suggested by other groups we've had classes with. That's one of the first things to say is forming a committee, and then you can get more guidelines. But right now, it's just, it's like, well, I think we have this money here. And I don't know of any definite plans except for some machinery that the police department bought earlier this year.
I like that idea.
Yeah, that sounds prudent.
Just to get it.
Forming some kind of a committee instead of just saying, throw money here, throw money there. I don't like to do that. I would rather have a targeted plan.
Or a group that is receiving information from others. Here's what we're wanting, here's what we would like to do, here's what we have done. And the ability to review it, consider it, and then publicly communicate with this council on the different requests that have been made, so we are spending it wisely. Again, Lynn on it, she's talked to me countless times. I'll blame my inexperience, but again, this has been a moving target too. And then the chief, his willingness to say, Jeff, we have used it for some, but it's growing, and we would like to see it used for a good purpose or many different things. And here we are. Here we are with a judge coming in to speak with us with lots of support.
So here's my opinion about tonight. We have $271,964 in that account.
And 100 and some budgeted for
Yeah,
this year.
and so we have,
Plenty of money.
if we want to form a committee for other things, but unless anyone has a strong objection to this one, I think we should give them the money now so they can get going with their program.
Totally agree.
You know, your comments there, again, it's no harm there, and this could actually be the stepping stone. We are looking your direction, and we're going to be even more prepared as others come in. And you better be like the judge with communication with my office, other stakeholders, and then her coming tonight and sharing with us.
I mean, she gave us a good deal of information. We
Yes.
had plenty of time to read it over. to ask questions ahead of time to her if we needed to, and she's here tonight, and all the people that are going to be providing the services are here tonight. So to me, I think we ought to let them get started off on the right foot with our support. And then I still do think we should form a committee for looking at the rest of the monies. But I don't have a problem with $30,000. It's a drop in the bucket.
I agree too.
We probably shouldn't tell you that, should we? Because you're going to be back here for more.
So, I know there's smaller communities in the county that are also getting this money. Does that automatically go to the county, or are they keeping their own money? Okay.
I don't know that all counties have to keep their money.
All government entities,
Yeah.
even Cindy got money.
Yes.
So
Okay.
smaller municipalities get money, but they all
The
get.
town, yeah.
I am, because, you know, the use of the, the 30,000, again, obviously, I think we would request, okay, how was it used? What did you do? And I'm sure the judge will be able to say, and it was enough, or here are some other things that we believe is a need, we'd like you to consider. And then we could address that again the next time, or the next year. And we would be prepared for it, like you said, with a committee. And, well, we've had 3 other groups come in, or individuals wanting to do X, Y, Z. That really could, back to what Mike, what you said, we could, in a very efficient, wise manner, get these dollars off this page and back into the community. That's why we that's why we
Which I
received
have
it.
no problem with.
Right.
I guess I just, you know me, I want more information. I want to know, you know, how much money has the county, how much money is the county going to put into this program?
She may be able to have, she might have some of those answers, I don't know,
Yeah.
but, or at least could find out.
I haven't had the chance to ask the county yet, but I know the county has some opioid money as well, so if we
Yeah.
have that, I'll be making that ask.
But I don't think we'd want to reduce the amount we were going to give, no matter how much they put in.
No, but I guess I'm just wondering, you know, you're asking us for 30, how much is the county putting in? How much is Pearston putting in? How much, you know, what percentage of their opioid money are they putting in? If we have 271, 100, over 100 of which is spoken for, that leaves us 171. We're putting in 10% probably of what we have left. We don't know who else is going to come knocking on the door.
Exactly, but I would say, Mike, that this obviously is a serious, just a lot of money, a serious issue. She's laid it out. This is a judge in our county. And I would like to.
I get all that.
Yeah, and I would like to think that if you considered it, you don't have to again tonight, but the influence that could have on her efforts to go after more dollars, blur the lines from all these other entities, as Dan mentioned, and encourage others to also look this direction. And again, we're gonna know that she will come back in 12 months or whenever and say, here's what it looks like. And let me, inform you on who else has been a part of this. But it could help her if the whole community knows the county seat with all these dollars is looking this direction.
So,
Josh?
as a point of clarity, because I think Mike said something that maybe we heard it 2 different ways. The way I heard it is that we are going to, in 2025, receive an additional 120,000 or whatever it is, approximately.
We don't know how much.
Maybe,
But we put
hopefully.
into the budget that it was gonna
We
be
won't
100 and
rece-
something.
I don't think we'll be receiving any less than what we received this year, we'll just put it that way.
Okay, and so
So that's 210,000.
have we earmarked any of that money to be spent? That's what I think Mike thinks he heard, that we have 150,000 or whatever it is earmarked in the budget to
There's like
spend.
119 or 109,000 budgeted for this year out of the
To
restricted.
spend.
Yeah, but there was
Okay.
no explanation sheet with the budget saying what that money was gonna be used for. I know that the police department has spent some money for some machinery to test drugs
Okay.
on, but I think it came out of the unrestricted and not the restricted, but I could be wrong.
And I think it was, again, my inexperience, it was the chief and I talking, Jeff, I'd like to see more done with it's building up, and we've used it, but this is something that I believe we could do more with. Would you let me move on this? And that's what's led to,
Well, what does that have to do with what she's asking for?
the money's sitting there. The money's
Yeah,
there.
well, the chief said he wants to use some money.
But he
You
hasn't
know, he
come up with
has.
any
He's just
clear-
saying that, again, this might be more than just my police department and buying, that could be used, come to the council, it could be used for other things.
Talking to them,
It sounds
they
like
see
we-
this as a big boost for net 43. As if we cannot have these repeat,
It's a good point.
yeah.
It sounds to me like you don't have a process or a plan in place how to take care of this money.
That's the committee.
So how do you envision this committee being set up, Mr. Mayor?
Well, a member of this board or two, I would think, obviously, the chief would want to have a say in that. You have Scott here, and then there might be another stakeholder or two that I can't even think of, but it would be individuals directly and indirectly involved in this type of issue, and then trying to serve those that are caught in this. These are our entity. Dan, help me out. This is our dollars. What do we believe is the best use of them? So,
So it seems like the first order of business would be to establish a committee.
yes, that would be, that's what, again, like Diane is saying, that's what you could consider to do tonight. It could be consider this and send it to that committee you form, or, you know what, this we believe is a start, and because of this and realizing there may be more that come to us, and I think Mike's thinking this way, it might be good to have a committee that can work with these people more so than just me, my office, and give you more information.
The other thing is, I think we just need to think about is the whole council's not going to be together for a while because of your vacations that are scheduled.
Oh, well, blame that on me.
No, not just you, Mike.
Have we said, we're going someplace.
We will.
Aren't you flying out?
Well, I'm gonna be here.
Oh, you're gonna be here, okay, because I mean, since we're all here tonight, if we delay this, and then we set up a committee, and then we get busy and we talk about it, and then we have to come back again, and then it has to go to the Board of Works, I mean, you're delaying this money 3 or 4 months.
Obviously, you could use the money tomorrow.
Anytime.
How, can you give me the urgency of this? I mean, I wouldn't want to push this off any longer than we have to either. And possibly even, give a token tonight and with the intention of doing more later.
So Jack, I wanted to answer your question. Because the program is just starting, that's why it's so important to have the money as quickly as possible now so we can get the program off and running. This is not money that's going to be used for an ongoing program. It's actually money that's going to be used to get the program going.
It's starting
Right.
seed money.
Yes, seed money. So that's why we're here tonight, to show the urgency to try to get this thing off the ground and running.
So Dan, is the county putting any money in this, or are you just coming to the city to ask for money?
No, we have, like the judge said, we have not gone to the county to ask.
Yet.
Yet. So the county's opioid money, the last I had heard, a big chunk of it went to the Kosciuszko County Recovery Program, the KCRP. And so they've already distributed out a lot of money already for that program. We will go and ask them to consider it as the money distribution comes out for 2025 for reentry court to be considered into that. So, and there again, on opioid money, you got to remember that you've got, like they pointed out, you've got restricted and unrestricted. The unrestricted can go for pretty much anything that you want to go for. And like the police, Warsaw Police had used it or is using it for drug testing equipment. That can be used in the unrestricted. You can't use restricted money for equipment. And restricted money has very specific terms, like Scott's pointing out, that you have to have an MOU written up to make sure that the entity that's going to use that restricted funds is going to be in compliance with what the restricted money is going to be used for. So that's what Scott's suggesting is the MOU, that the recovery court or the reentry court knows that they have to comply with the program as well as in good faith with the city of Warsaw.
I'm not good at math, but the total amount of 371, the 30,000 is less than 10% overall. And if you look at the 272, you're looking at about 10% is the request of what we have now. We're not talking the next 16 years, dollars coming in. So,
And ever since we started getting this money in, the conversation has been, what are we gonna do with this? I mean, there's no plan.
Now we
There's
got-
no more
now we got
going
something.
forward.
We need a
So
plan.
it's
We have
just
a
been
plan.
piling up, and, which is good for us,
Yeah.
because it's in our bank account getting interest, but
Yeah. I mean, I agree, I think we need to do a committee, but that said, it's gonna probably take us 2 or 3
Yeah.
months down the road to
going
get
forward,
everything
we need a
together.
committee. Yeah,
And I really don't wanna hold them.
yeah, exactly.
So for context, I did a quick Google search, so obviously this has to be true. So it says 82% of people incarcerated are arrested at some point within 10 years following their release, and a vast majority of that actually happens within the first 3 years. So in other words, we're arresting them, we're jailing them, we're not doing anything to help them, we're sending them back out, and they're coming right back in within 3 years. That ain't solving a problem. Okay, so I think this is a layup. $30,000, less than 10% of our funds, and then we get some committees and guardrails in place. Makes all the sense in the world to me.
I would just like to say, I think it's very appropriate to use the opioid settlement money because that caused the problem for a lot of these people to start with, and it's just skyrocketed.
Good point.
The other thing is, looking at your sheet, I think it's amazing that you're going to actually assess them individually, and they're each going to have an individual plan for recovery. Everybody's very unique, and we know they go right back because when they get out, they can't rent a car, they can't buy a car, they can't rent a place. They end up on a couch with the people that got them in jail in the first place. It's just a revolving circle. So I'm prepared to make a motion that we have Scott prepare a memorandum of understanding to give you the $30,000 and then also form a committee for any future expenditures that we may have. And let's not delay this, let's just go with it.
so you would be prepared to make a motion?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion, though, before he does make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
That
and
we prepare a memorandum of understanding that we will give them the $30,000 and then form a committee for any, respecting Mike's concerns, for any money we spend down the road.
Okay, before I ask for a second, you could help me out here. With your motion, I think the MOU is very important. I think establishing a committee, I don't remember ever making a motion to do that. You can certainly have that on there, but I think it's obvious from the group that that is something that we would want to have done.
Just so we can really understand
Where we're coming
what's
from.
going
Oh, I
on
hear you.
out there, what's going on in their world, how we're gonna be judicious with this money and spend it wisely.
Yes.
I mean, there is an end to it at some point, and the problem may not end by the time we get to the end of the money. So I just wanna be able to use that money as efficiently as we can, I guess is what I'm saying. I know there's a problem, and I wanna help people. I mean, you know me, I wanna help people. I just don't wanna be throwing money around at a problem that I really don't quite understand how it's gonna be used.
In defense of the judge, the material tonight and then the material that was sent to my office and shared with you, and then her ability to come in here, I think that sends a very loud and clear message to anybody else in the community that is interested in coming before this board. You better be very clear, better be very prepared, because not only will it be this board, but we also now have a committee that we're forming that is going to probably, before meetings and during the meeting, investigate, ask, again, why you're coming. And then I think about this group, I can't think anybody better other than Judge of coming back to us in 6 to 12 months, making, just updating us. I'm not even saying she'll make another request, but the update, I think everybody in this community that's interested in these dollars will learn quite a bit on how you do business with the city and then eventually the committee for a wise use of dollars. I think this is a perfect
And
example.
the other thing I'd like to know is, what is the buy-in for the rest of the community?
And we're gonna learn that. That'll be,
One of the things, Mike, I appreciate that. Nobody knows at this point. You can't, there's no round table where we're going to be able to bring every community member or every municipality to the table at the same time and have
Well, all
it.
the records are public. I mean, we could have a general idea.
You don't
of-
all have your same meeting here tonight. We don't have the county commissioners or the county council people aren't here tonight to make a commitment. This board hasn't made a commitment yet. And then I think part of it is the good idea, right? And so one of the things, because Lynn and I and the mayor have talked about some of this, and Diane was part of this earlier when we noticed the amount of money in the opioid settlement. It takes good ideas, and I think the committee you all are going to form are going to hopefully hear really, really good ideas. I think one of the things you heard tonight is this reentry court's a great idea, and it's got Dan Hampton, who's more experienced in this community and that side of things than him, and Tammy Johnston is the director of the probation, who's more experienced than her, and Judge McGrath and all that she sees. The reentry court and the people involved in that particular program, I don't know how you could get better stakeholders and people involved in that particular program. I don't know who else will come before you. Hopefully, the great ideas. I mean, the community needs. We have people in this community that are doing great things. You know, some of the missions, some of the halfway houses, some of the other programs, but. This seems to be, as Josh said, at least in mine, and I don't generally advocate as much as this, but
No, you don't. And
but
I'm not questioning integrity or.
No.
Or anything. I'm just trying to be a fiduciary of the money.
they just need the money now. And the committee hasn't been established up until now. And so there hasn't been a committee to vet this before you all hear it. And that's a great idea that there be a committee that people go to. And I'm sure the council president that gets selected tonight will help form this committee and decide maybe who's on it or help decide who's on it. But as of today, I think to move this forward, they need to have a buy-in starting someplace so they can go other places and say, here's what we've got. We've got a buy-in from the city of Warsaw. We're going to be able to move forward with our programs because we can get the first people started. And once we get the first people started, you're going to be able to see the successes or the failures of how those first people get started. But I appreciated what Cindy and Diane and Josh have said so far, and Jerkin. This is going to go on for a while, and thank God there's a source that we hope continues to grow and provide funding for these good ideas. We're not short on crime in this community. We're just not. And so ideally, some of this money helps law enforcement vet out some of the crime. And probably just as importantly, some of this money helps prevent future crime and the ripple effects that it's caused. And so I guess that's where I stand on that. But I think you're going to have a great committee. I think there's interest. I think you have people up here on this that care about this kind of stuff, and I think this community has been supportive of other type programs. The drug court's been supported, and I think this is something that could go forward. But there is some urgency to this, so that this program can get started.
and, again, like you said, the stakeholders that are here tonight and then what you're hearing from the council, and I don't want to force anybody to do anything, but the other side of it is, I think I said it a little bit ago, or somebody did, the amount of dollars that are sitting there. There could be members of this community, here they are asking very respectfully and politely here, why are all those dollars sitting there? Why? They came for a reason, okay? And again, they're in the restricted category. And why aren't you using them? And so, and again, the request is less than 10% of what we have right now, not counting the next 16 years. So,
I
Go ahead, Jay.
can think of a number of other people who may come to us and ask us for dollars. But I can't really think of anybody, my small mind right now anyhow, of a better group. Yes, they don't have anything up and running yet, but they seem to have an awful lot of sources to base their direction on. And I can think of no better place than with the court system that we currently have, especially with the wealth of information that they're going to be able to glean on how to get it up and running.
get it up and running too, I think is important. Again,
That's
Josh
a
mentioning
key.
this cycle, and again, my 35 years in this community, the classroom, this cycle continues. Why wouldn't we want to get something up and running and see its impact here? She's going to be able to tell us in 12 months, if she decides to come back, how it is going. Or maybe she may come in, I trust her enough, she'll say, this is where the dollars ought to go next time, for the good of this community, to see if we can find something that will work, influencing and saving lives. So,
I think it's urgent we get the $30,000 in their hands to start the program. Also, so when you go to negotiate with the other
yeah.
cities, towns, county, whatever, you can say, the city's committed this much, what are you willing to do? I think that's a great asset. So, again, I'm willing to just go with it, and then form the committee, as Mike said, for any future expenditures.
So as
And I can
presiding
be a
officer,
separate-
can I respectfully ask that the motion
Yes.
is to ask him to create this MOU
Yes.
for the $30,000?
I'll make a motion that Scott prepares the MOU to spend the 30 and then form the committee, or you want that in a separate motion?
He just doesn't want it on the motion.
So I think the appropriate motion is two separate things.
Okay.
I think there's a motion to have me prepare an MOU to distribute $30,000 of the opioid settlement fund money to the Kosciuszko Superior Court 1 Reentry Court. And I can, if this council approves that, I'll work on that. And then you separately can discuss what you want to do about a committee and whether that requires a motion or not. I don't know that that requires a motion. You all can
Yeah,
form a
as a-
committee
yeah.
as you choose, so.
Just by consensus, we
Just do it.
Jurgen, if you just want to say so moved, what
So
you
moved.
said, okay, good, I'll accept
No.
that as presiding officer, and
So-
thank you.
Given all the,
And that would be out of 2257, restricted, right?
I would prefer, yes, it come out of the restricted, if we can.
Is it?
And that is part of
correct?
your request, out of the restricted funding?
I think
Just trying
what
to-
the reentry court does will fit all of the schedule of the restricted fund. It's almost dead on as to the stuff that,
That way if something came up that we needed something that,
it's certainly
we can-
targeted to meet the harms caused
Right,
by the
by the
opioid
opioid.
crisis.
And just an FYI, then, I need to have know that information, because once a year, another report has to be done to the FSSA about how we're spending the money on each restricted.
Which
entity.
brings back the
and that
importance.
information would come from,
We'll get a report. Part of the MOU is,
That's where I was.
part of the MOU will have an agreement that the reentry court will, on an annual basis, report how it spent the $30,000 that was distributed to it.
And that gets to what Lynn said, that would be our committee that could help get in front of it and then help us understand it when they do come back. And maybe commit more dollars or recommit dollars to these organizations.
If I think about it, I'll send you guys all a copy of Exhibit E, so you can see what all the restricted funds can be used for.
I'd just like to add, if we're gonna do this, I think we don't wanna wait a whole year for an update. I'd like to get an update maybe in 90 days, let us know. And you don't have to come here, just send us a memo, let us know where you're at with it, because I think we're all interested in the results. So I'd just like to add that.
Motion on the floor. Is there-
Mayor, given all the wisdom and positive comments that I've heard here tonight, and knowing what positive good this will do in our community, I'd like to second the motion.
All right, motion on the floor by Jurgen. Hey, thank you, Mike, and a second by Mike. Excellent discussion. Again, this is why we meet and it's in public. Appreciate that. Is there any further discussion?
To be continued?
All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Judge, 7-0. Thank you very much, all of you.
I'll look forward to updating you.
Thank you. Great discussion. Appreciate that.
Now you got something to take back to the other people.
Yes, yes. That helps.
And again, if you want to stay, great. If not, you're not going to hurt our feelings. Gordon, you heard me too. All right, good. All right. That'll take us into reports, oral and written. Communications. The first item is the cable franchise fee. Any comments here, Lynn?
Nope. You just got some, so I guess that's better than nothing.
$10,945.67. The December fund report, which we were looking at during this discussion.
Came in handy tonight.
Yes,
it did. Well, so you can see, some of these balances are really good. We ended up with more than what we started with, so that's always a good sign. Then I always like to look at the revenue and the distributions year-to-date, so we can see if we spent less than we received, which is always a good thing, too.
Any questions for Lynn?
I like the Fund 2243 Fire Protection Territory number, looking good.
Yeah, I saw that, too. I was pleased with that, but
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
yeah.
Any other questions? That'll take us to item 3 in reports oral and written, the 2024 encumbered PO report. Lynn, help us out with this as well. What are we looking at again? We see this every year, if I remember right. What is this?
This is the money that was brought over from 2024 to 2025 that has a purchase order associated with it. It's part of the whole budgeting process that we have to use this, so in June, there'll be some that's taken away because people would have used it, or else it was not used. Also need it for if we do additional appropriations, so we know how much was encumbered over from year to year.
In the total 8.1 million.
And some of it could be for large contracts, and some could be, some of the money purchased ordered over could be for office supplies or automotive supplies.
Any questions for Lynn there?
I just want to make a comment that having served on the Board of Works, I see this like from a different viewpoint. And so like some of this money is encumbered already, but then they have to send in pay applications for how much they actually spent out of that money that we gave them a contract for. And then those are always reviewed by somebody else before they get to us, like the city engineer or the city planner or the economic development director. And then they say whether or not they used it correctly and whether or not we should pay it. And so I never really realized why we have so much money hanging out here until I saw it from that side, that we've already committed to those contracts, but the contractors haven't completely fulfilled everything yet. And so, and then some of them, like we hold some for a certain amount of time to make sure that there aren't any snafus or something comes up after they say everything's finished, and then eventually we release the rest of that payout. So it takes like a long time, as I figured out, to get through an entire contract.
Lynn, listen to me, make sure I don't say this wrong, but you're right. Government doesn't stop working with the private sector and other contractors, but our budget has a line.
Yeah.
And that line, we have to follow what the state wants us to do, and that's what Lynn does a very good job at. But you're right, it keeps on moving, and you definitely see it at the Board of Works. Appreciate your service on that board. Any other questions or comments?
So this is just for our information, right?
No action required, just information.
No action required. We just have to make sure you are aware of it.
There is no unfinished business. That will take us to new business. Park and Recreation, 2024 year in review. Larry, appreciate you highlighting this incredible report. Council did receive it in their packet of information. I think you provided a hard copy, which would be really nice. I like that.
Yeah.
And take us through, and appreciate you coming in tonight and sharing. Take us through this year-end review.
Yeah, I'm just excited to share the 2024 year in review with you. Throughout the year, our talented staff members have completed numerous projects that have not only saved the city money, but it's allowed us to use our dollars and stretch our dollars to do other projects, important projects, like the metal roofing of the restrooms and cabins, installation of new benches, grills, and concrete pads, landscaping projects to enhance our parks, playground installation for improved recreational spaces, the installation of engineered wood fiber across all playgrounds, the refurbishing of gazebos at Kittyland and McKinley, constructing pier sections for our campgrounds, refurbishing the alleyway planters to brighten our downtown, improvements at the Zimmer Biomet Center Lake Pavilion, upgrades to the Center Lake Recreational Trail, and our Christmas light display featuring an addition of our new pixel tree and manger scene. Those accomplishments extend beyond our department, as we've also contributed to projects citywide, assisting the street department, City Hall, and our airport. Our staff has worked at all different sites throughout the city. You'll also find several contracted projects that were accomplished in 2024. These include resurfacing of the Boggs basketball courts, camera installation at Central Park, epoxy flooring projects throughout the park system, signage and fence improvements, heating and cooling units upgrades at the Pete Thorne Center, metal door installations at several restrooms, the third water softener installation for the splash pad. That was asked earlier why we needed a third one. We were using so much water at the splash pad that the 2 units that we had were being taxed to their limits. So that it was recommended that it would save us on salt by putting the third unit in there, and it's worked out. It's worked out well. You'll also find numerous collaborations in 2024 with various departments, organizations, and community partners, including stormwater, city engineering, planning, street department, the city IT, the Warsaw Public Arts Commission, the Warsaw Public Library, Goshen Health, Bradford's Outdoor Creations, Carrie Groninger and Family, and the Zimmer Biomet Volunteers. These partnerships have greatly contributed to improving our facilities and programs, enhancing the quality of life for our neighbors, and ensuring that our community spaces remain welcoming and enjoyable for all. You will also see the equipment purchases that align with our 10-year master plan for equipment replacement, ensuring we maintain a high level of service and minimize downtime. Very important to us.
The review also highlights the hard work and dedication our team has demonstrated throughout the year, participating through leadership training and progress towards our yearly goals of communication, accountability, and teamwork. In addition, our monthly employee awards, voted on by peers, recognize team members who go above and beyond in their roles. Our staff has also made a meaningful impact by volunteering their time and participating in city-sponsored events, further showcasing their commitment to serving our neighbors and enhancing our community. These reports showcase projects and initiatives that go above and beyond our daily task. Along with these special projects, our team handles essential responsibilities such as collecting multiple tons of garbage and dog waste, assisting elderly residents through our driveway assistance program, also working hard to maintain all city facilities and grounds, including downtown flower beds, while providing valuable delivery service for sawhorse and picnic tables to support community events and activities. Our recreation program provides year-round activities and events that engage the community and promote active lifestyles. In 2024, we offered 27 diverse programs and hosted 2 major concerts featuring national artists, along with 9 Friday evening concerts that brought many people to enjoy live music. Additionally, our staff ensures the safe operation of Madness Skate Park and maintains public beaches at Pike and Center Lake, providing residents and visitors with safe, enjoyable recreational space. And lastly, our revenue report highlights the success of our campgrounds, our seasonal rentals, and year-round rental facilities. After covering expenses and utility, we're pleased to report a net revenue of $140,467.76 for 2024. I would like to thank each and every one of you for supporting Parks and Recreation and understanding the value that Parks and Recreation has in our city. It means a lot to us, and we appreciate all your support. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer the best I can.
Larry, I'll publicly say thanks again for your service to the city. 4 decades.
Yep.
Yeah, 4 decades. I went through this report days ago. He brought it in, and appreciate you highlighting it. My favorite picture is page 37, where you'll see the 2024 goals. Larry and his leadership. There is the team. I mean, you think about 20 parks, over a $3 million budget, the city of Lakes, and all the things that we can do. This is the team that takes care of it. And under Larry's leadership, I see it. Now, that's one of the privileges of being mayor, the day-to-day operations that I didn't see as much as a councilman. He has communication, accountability, and teamwork. And then, so that's my favorite team picture. And then, if anybody, page 24.
We don't have page numbers.
Well, you don't have page numbers on it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, anywhere there's a team picture, well, as you work your way up, the online version, if you get to 24, it's Larry Plummer and Jeff Gross sidewalk chalk. I think some of you saw that. If you would have told me, Jeff, Larry and you into your late 50s would be on the ground with little kids, there we are. And that just says a lot about what's being offered, and you see the young and the old there. Sorry, Larry.
What the mayor isn't telling you
is.
is.
That's neat. I love that. And so,
Yeah.
Larry, thanks again for all you do. Any questions that you have for him, looking through it? And
I think Jurgen brought this up earlier at our park board meeting. If you look at our program and event attendance, we're touching 23,119 participants. That to me alone shows that we're reaching people, we're giving people opportunities with our programs and events to, get out and enjoy Parks and Recreation. So, yeah. And the one thing Jeff didn't tell you about that story is I've always had a pet peeve that I hated sidewalk chalk. My daughters will tell you to this day that I never allowed it at my house because it always reminded me of vandalism. And I didn't want vandalism. I wanted it taken away as quick as possible. So that day that we painted our chalked sidewalks was good therapy for me. And it was a milestone that I spent with the mayor there.
And the power
Yeah.
was, I didn't know that story until the next day when I bumped into Montana. She couldn't believe it. Yeah, my dad did what? Not just, but then again, that just says a lot. Let's, the kid-friendly, community-friendly, offering all of this to the entire community. So everybody enjoys it, not just our jurisdiction, but everybody comes in and enjoys these 20 parks in the city of Lakes. Yeah, Larry, thanks.
How long did it take you guys to get up from the?
That is true.
Yeah.
As a member of the park board, I heard this presentation a couple hours ago, and I'm very impressed with the handout you gave us. I know you put a lot of time into that. It's very professionally done, and it tells us what you've done. I wasn't aware of the fact of all the other things you do besides taking care of 20 parks. And you have it here, I don't know what page it is, other notable achievements, waste management, vandalism, and code enforcement. You've had a lot of issues with that. The driveway assistance program, I don't think anybody knows you do that. Snow removal downtown, I believe. Grounds maintenance, and then all your other community services. You take care of, you said 500 picnic tables during the winter?
Absolutely. Reconditioned.
On top of getting
tables
out
and benches,
below
yeah.
zero weather and shoveling snow. So thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you, Jerry.
Much appreciated.
It's
Thank you.
been so nice to have that little bobcat come through downtown when it snows.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing, that the different departments, you guys know, and more so with these guys, times are different, they're excellent leaders, Larry's one of them. His willingness to, I mean, his guys, I had one guy texting me, hey Jeff, or Mayor, he knows I've known him for years, I'm out shoveling the sidewalks here at City Hall, Park Department. You get all of that, so the team play and the efforts that these guys are making to cover as much as they possibly can. And I didn't know or remember, Larry, that your guys were the ones around here doing all that.
Absolutely.
Until I moved up there in that nice warm office and I see them out here doing what they're doing. Yeah, on the couch, you see it. Don't give Larry any ammunition. Yeah, so, but yeah, that's a great point, Jurgen.
Well, I've known Larry for quite a number of years, because he used to date some of my sister-in-laws, and that's been a long
Now, Jerry,
David's right.
David.
scratch that.
It's on video. Come on, David. Come on.
he's always been somebody to go to when I see a problem down there at the park or anything, just go in there and talk to him. He's easy to talk to.
Not an easy
I
job.
appreciate you, Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate you.
You know, I guess I knew, but I had forgotten until you just reminded us. 40 years of service. I applaud you.
Yeah.
Really. We're very fortunate. Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
All right.
It's crazy when he's only 39, too.
Forever.
Yeah. Any other matters?
We got a
Oh,
vote for president.
no, point of order. I apologize. Back to the platform and my poor eyesight. Item number 2 in new business. Thanks, Lynn. Electing a council president for 2025. Jack, as current president, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've greatly appreciated being able to serve in the past. And I'll open up the floor for nominations at this point.
I nominate Jack.
To accept it again?
That was kind of muddled. I heard the first one. What was?
Would you be willing to accept the
I would
position
be willing to
again?
accept it again. Yes, I've enjoyed doing it. I know that we've kind of got sort of a pretty good rhythm going with this council, and I wouldn't want to upset that. So I heard a motion.
Well, I'd second that one.
Okay.
Are
Move the
there
nominations be closed.
any other nominations to be heard?
I move the nominations be closed.
A second.
And I get a second from Cindy. So with that, the question is before you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Thank you, Jack.
With that, it's unanimous, 6-0. I'll be the president for the next coming year.
As
And I-
mayor, growing my relationship with all of you, but especially Jack over the past year as president, something I just was unable, didn't do as a council member. Really appreciate his leadership. And then again, back to you guys, your ability also to communicate not only with him, but also with me. So appreciate that. And again, Jack, looking forward to another good year. Thank you. All right, now, going to other matters, there aren't any. And thanks, Lynn. Meeting review, are there any questions or comments from the community? Judge, Gordon, Gary, good to see you. Larry, you're still here. Yeah, good.
Just a quick question though.
Question?
The committee, I mean, will you let us know who's on the committee or something that?
No, we're gonna keep it quiet.
Yeah, no.
Yes, we will.
We'll sit down, I'll sit down with Jack and we'll try to figure out who should be on it, what would their responsibilities be, not only working with stakeholders like the judge, others, but also working with the council, so we're just more prepared to deal with this, so.
We'll obviously vet it through
Yeah.
our counselor
Right,
as well, just to make sure we're
Right.
doing it correctly.
good,
Yep, sure, we'll give you a follow-up.
good. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, we're adjourned. Good evening, thank you.
Thank you. Now let it redo.
I know, I thought it was a quick meeting too, but then I thought, yeah, I saw that on there.
Are we offline? Turn us off? Yes.
No, not yet. Hit the button. That didn't do it.
Mike, thank you for thinking through and I understand.